Welcome to the April 17th meeting of the Rotary Club of Brentwood. And just to point out the itinerary, the agenda that Jennifer Bourne gave me says December, April. Anyways, I'm Jennifer, who knows my last name? Ruane. All right. I'm glad to be filling in for Jennifer Bourne today. She is away on a work weekend. Let's start with George Johnson leading our invocation. Oh. Maybe this is December, she said.
Heavenly Father, we love you and we thank you for the tremendous blessings that you give us. Every heartbeat, every breath, everything that we have and we are is because of you. Help us to live our lives as if we believe that. Father, we thank you for this Rotary Club. We ask you to continue to bless us in our efforts to bless this community. And please keep everybody that is not feeling well or having various issues with health in this club, help them to recover. And please bless our Pancake Day tomorrow. In Jesus' holy and blessed name we pray. Amen.
And Sybil will do the pledge and the four-way test.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic and now let's recite the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4.
All right. Hi, everybody. I am Jennifer Shepard. I am the club secretary this year, and I'm going to introduce our guests. And we have at least one visiting Rotarian. I'm going to walk around. I want to make sure you don't have food in your mouth. We've got a first-time visitor. Hey, can everybody hear me? Thank you. Some of you can hear me. Okay, we've got our first-time visitor, Stephanie Diaz-Para. Do you want to?
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you, everyone, for having me here. My name is Stephanie Diaz. I'm with Comparion Insurance Agency, and our office is right here in Brentwood. So just happy to be here. Thank you. I was just going to say that. I was looking of different ways to be involved within the community, and I looked it up in AI, and Rotary was the first one that popped up. So,
all right. Where is Charles Grumman when you need him? He would love that. And she's already signed up to help serve with Pancake Day, so you will hopefully also see her tomorrow. And we have a visiting Rotarian. Everybody knows Mayor Nelson Andrews.
Hey, thanks for having me. As I think you know, my dad, Curry Andrews, got me started doing this years back, so I'm in Brentwood morning, but go vote. There is an election going on right now, so please get involved.
And we also have a guest of Tonacliff is Nancy Bailey, who is running for county commissioner. You want to say something real quick? Or should I? Tom, you want to say something? Okay. Everybody knows Nancy. And see. It's always good to see Lewis Rankin. We don't always acknowledge Nan, but I think Nan's out in the hallway. But we really appreciate Nan coming and bringing Lewis every week. That's it. Thank you.
All right, we've got a fair amount of business to do today, so let's fly through it real quick so that we can enjoy our speaker here today. The first order of business is we have 4 birthdays today, and 2 or 3 of them are actually in the room. So Bourne says we have to sing. So did Donna come in for lunch? Weeks? Oh, there she is. Colleen, are you here? I didn't see Colleen out front. Michael Huff and Jeff Hughes. Jeff is rarely here. So Bourne says we have to sing, and I promise you all do not want me starting that. Laura, go for it. Oh, wait.
It's important.
Okay, everybody understood what to do when you're singing happy birthday. Start low, go low, go low, go low. Okay, next Pancake Day.
All right, guys, it's here and we're all very excited. I do think the rain's going to hold off till about noon tomorrow. So an extra prayer for the rain not to hit really till about 1 would be great. On your table are your final assignments. Look on this, find your name. If you have any questions, you need anything, reach out to Sarah. If you don't know exactly what your shift means when you look at that, just show up at your time. Look for one of us. We'll help you, show you where to be. And then when you get there, we need to be parking behind Brentwood High School. So you can come off of Granny White to get to that parking lot. Just be mindful, we have the cars for kids on the side lot. So park down by the middle school or behind Brentwood High School when you get there. So we'll see you tonight or all day tomorrow. Thank you.
Sheila's going to tell us a little bit about blood assurance will be on site as well.
Yeah, the blood assurance van will be out in front. There'll just be one. I've got the QR codes on the table. There's still plenty of signups. And once again, blood assurance is local. What you give stays local. They're the main supplier for Williamson Medical and Vanderbilt and the TriStar. So thank you.
Okay. Larry, you want to give us a golf update today? No, golf update. Okay. Saved us a couple minutes. Do you have anything that you want to address today? Larry, do you need any time at the mic? Oh, God. Remember, there's people on Zoom. Yes.
Hi, Zoom people. Your club tomorrow for the first time is in charge of the car show. So please come down and see us at the car show. We really don't have a whole lot of idea what we're going to be doing. We're learning as we go. So, but come down tomorrow and see the cars. There's supposed to be 50, Lennis? 50 at least cars tomorrow, all kind of souped up and high speed and all this other stuff that you car guys know about. So come down and see the car show and know that we're running it this year. We've got some ideas for next year we think will help the club, but this year we're just learning. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Sybil, did you want to announce our next social?
June 13th, we have our last social of this Rotary year, and it'll be at Jennifer Bourne's home, and it's going to be a shrimp boil. So we're putting this out there so we get a good turnout. So everyone put that on your calendar, June 13th, Saturday night.
Okay, we have 2 or 3 other more announcements, but I want to mix it up a little bit because we're doing a quick member moment today, and our new member Tom is doing his, but he's also introducing our speaker. So we're going to go ahead and let him do his quick member moment, and then we're going to come back to the announcements because we don't want him mixing himself up with our speaker here.
This is a little uncomfortable because she said I couldn't talk politics, and I'm in the middle of that. So, real quick, I'm Tom. I don't have a problem. That was what I was told. I grew up in Akron, Ohio. I consider that home because that's where I went to high school. I started and ran a small business in Columbia, Missouri. I called a bookstore without books. We had all the fun stuff, the shot glasses, the paddles, the sweatshirts, all the fun stuff for the University of Missouri and all the Greek stuff. I got married in 87. We moved to Arkansas, which was, well, we came here, let's put it that way. And we came here quickly following. I have two wonderful children. One is a financial analyst at Tractor Supply. He's 25, and my daughter is 23, and she's a team lead tech at the Williamson County Animal Center. So if you need a dog or a cat, go see her. And that's my kids. I was divorced a few years ago. I've just recently gotten engaged. That hasn't been public yet. So I appreciate that. I'm still a little nervous about it because it's been a few years since I've done something like that. And my son asked me if I went to get engagement pictures taken. And I'm like, no, I didn't do that the first time around. Hassan told me to tell a quick story about why I'm not campaigning, but why I got in politics. When I owned my business in Missouri, I ran for city council. I think I got 4 votes, my mom, dad, me, and my wife. It didn't go well. I came here, got involved. I started a group called Fund Our Schools, which was to help us beat the county schools at their own game, or really the county commission from not funding schools properly. And my goal was to get Brentwood Middle rebuilt. We started that process, got it approved through the county commission, and I was blessed to help cut the ribbon on that last year. So very excited about that. At the end of that Fund Our Schools, people approached me and said, you need to run for county commission, keep funding schools. And I was like, no, I don't. I really don't. My mother passed in 2017 from cancer. And when I was laying there with her one day on her bed before she passed, she looked over at me, she said, you remember when you ran for city council? Yes, Mom. Yeah, thanks. I remember that. And she goes, I want you to run. I don't care what you do. You want to be in office. You've always wanted to be in office. So I've put some money aside in my state for you to run for office. So promise me you'll run for office when you're approached. And I was like, oh, this is fine. All the seats are full. I'm good. Yes, ma'am. 2 weeks later, I got a call that Bobby Hullett wasn't going to run again. He wanted me to run for a seat. There's the end of my story. So you don't lie to mama on her deathbed is what I learned on that. But I'm going to end it short because I want to hear more about Phil. But thank you very much for letting me speak. And hopefully you know a little something about me you didn't know when I started.
Thank you, Tom. We look forward to more member moments as we move forward. We look forward to getting to know why you've joined us, why you're here, and who you are and as you join. So thank you, Tom. Okay, so to continue some announcements, Linus.
So I've got 2 things. The first of which has to do with Pancake Day and Cars for Kids tomorrow. The Cars for Kids folks approached me a couple days ago and said it would be great if for people who are a little bit mobility impaired, if they had access to some kind of golf cart or 4-wheeler to get them around the lot back there behind Brentwood High School. And so, with no time left, my question is for you in the room, if you have access to a golf cart or some kind of 4-wheeler that can be used for that purpose and can bring it to Brentwood High tomorrow and are willing to let us use it, please see me right after the meeting and we'll work out the details for that. So that's number 1. Number 2 is, some of you probably remember Larry Kane getting up here some 6 months ago and asking if anybody was interested in bowling. Anybody remember that? Right? Well, I found out some information about summer leagues over at Franklin Lanes. There are a couple of opportunities, one on Tuesday night, one on Thursday night. I really need to know whether or not there's going to be interest from club members and also family members. From my perspective, this should be open to extended families so they can be part of the extended family of Rotary. I will send out an email message early next week with more details and a link to a survey so that you can express your specific interest, because I need that kind of commitment for us if we're going to participate. So thanks for that.
Go ahead.
So if everyone in this room signed up and also agreed to have 2 family members bowl as well, we would have a league of our own, right? But the truth of the matter is we'll join an existing league because I suspect we won't get that kind of turnout, but thank you. Oh, yeah. These are 4-person teams, and they require, both sexes to be on the team, right? So let me know.
Is using the rails allowed? That's how I like to bowl. Let's see. PDG Dick Bowers has something to say, I think. Keep it short. PDGs are known to talk.
May 1 at our meeting, Judge, Dean, Attorney General Alberto Gonzalez is going to come and talk to us. He prefers, rather than just speaking, to be interviewed. So we're looking for questions. On your table is a piece of paper. You need to write down the questions you would like to maybe ask or have asked to the Attorney General, and we'll collate all that and hopefully have a scintillating apolitical program. Thank you.
All right. 2 other things. Susie has been working very hard to plan the new district convention in Louisville the second week of May. There's a few of us in the club going, and they have asked if each club or the convention group have asked if each of us would bring a silent auction basket from our club. So I'm going, Jane is going, Bourne is going to try to go, Dick is going. We're looking for basket ideas, or if anyone has anything they would like to donate that's kind of Tennessee-ish or ticket-ish or whatever, we're looking to figure that basket out. And the last thing before we'll do Happy Bucks real quick. On your table, Pinky Donuts is back. Does everybody know Pinky Donuts? Has anyone worked administering the polio vaccination with an international group before? In this, I haven't either. It's on my bucket list. But apparently when you administer the polio vaccination, you put a permanent purple mark on the child's fingernail, and that's how the volunteers know that they've had the vaccination. So that's where Pinky Donuts come from. So it's a purple mark, which is why the icing is purple, but it's called Pinky Donuts. We're selling them again. The district's doing it a little different this year. You have the papers on your table if you want to purchase any. I'm going to be taking up the money. Then that money will go straight to RI. As soon as I collect it all the donuts will also be picked up on May 11th by someone. I'm not going to say me. We'll worry about that May 9th. Let's worry about selling them first. If you want to buy donuts, but you don't want the donuts, but you would like to donate them to a fire station or police station or a school, I'm happy to make that run on pickup day as well. So please sign up. We've got this Friday and next. So please buy donuts. If you have any questions, I'm out here for questions, and let's do some Happy Bucks. Robert Evanoff. Is he here? No, I knew I didn't see him. Who wants to do Happy Bucks? Okay.
Who's happy?
Laura.
My 20-year-old daughter just finished and passed the first part of the actuarial exam, and we're so proud of her. 1 down, like 10 to go.
Michael Heineman.
Well, we do know now why Tom is getting married again. He's trying to build back up to 4 voters. Some of you all know that I have daughters. And I've mentioned before that Melissa is getting married this summer in France. My wife and Melissa have been working with the chateau and with the wedding planner for months, trying to get everything coordinated. We are heading over there. The wedding's not live. We're heading over there this week to do final planning. And for my own peace of mind, to confirm that the place actually exists. They've been cashing the checks, so they must be legitimate, but we will find out this next week.
Congratulations. Who else is happy? No one? Nobody happy? Going once. Going twice. That's it.
Four votes. That was good. Thank you. All right, y'all, turn your phones off. All right, we did that. I was elected to the commission 8 years ago. On my first term, we had a change in leadership at the Williamson Medical Center. It was described to me as a rudderless ship at times prior to that change. The gentleman that came into the meeting the next time to introduce himself was Phil. We found a rudder. I'll tell you that. That thing's been on rocket ship since he's arrived. And as a county commissioner, I am extremely excited about where we are with probably one of the finest hospitals in the state of Tennessee being right here in Williamson County. There's a lot going on about the hospital, and hopefully Phil will get into that a little bit. But Phil has been the CEO there for the last 5 years. And he's been fantastic, the things that have been achieved by him. He comes from a very long background in health for-profit CEO seats. He's worked for CHS. I'm not going to read all this. I just want you to talk. Phil's amazing. I love visiting with him, learning more about health. His staff's incredible. I just want y'all to hear from Phil, not from me. So, Phil Mazzuca.
Thank you, Tom. Jennifer told me about the 1 o'clock hard stop, and she told me to try to keep it short. I didn't know if that was a statement about my stature or whether she was talking about the time I take. But I am 6 foot -6, so I'm not that short. I'm really pleased to be able to spend some time with you today to talk about this incredible asset we have in this community. This thing has been around for 68 years. And we started off, as you know, a long time ago over on West Main. So what I want to do is I want to give you a little bit of history of the hospital because it's not really known out in this community, even for people that lived here for generations, who we really are and what we are and where we came from. So I'm going to spend a few minutes with you talking about that. So if I go back to the early 50s, there was a doctor in town named J.O. Walker. And Dr. Walker thought that this community needed its own hospital. We had a couple medical offices in downtown Franklin that called themselves hospitals. We had the Pyle Clinic and the Dan German Hospital. Both of those are about, I think, 100 yards away from each other. Those buildings still stand today. And those doctors had inpatient beds in their doctor's offices. And so Dr. Walker went and met with those guys and said, hey, this community really needs its own hospital. If we were able to get one approved, would you guys be willing to close down the beds in your offices? And they agreed. So Dr. Walker went to the General Assembly and asked for the approval to construct a new hospital in Williamson County. And the General Assembly approved us as a private act hospital district. And so what that really means is we are a governmental entity that stand alone. We don't receive tax funding. Everything we do, we either earn it, borrow it, or get it through philanthropy. So we are our own separate entity. But in the private act, there are a couple things that happen. One thing that in the private act, it said, okay, county, you are responsible for electing the board that's going to run this hospital. And secondly, if the hospital ever decides to sell or mortgage, you have to approve it. So that's the two jobs that the state gave to the county. But this organization is standalone. So this hospital was built in 1958. You can see it over there as a 50-bed hospital. That's how it started. And if you know the current county administrative offices on West Main, that was the original hospital. That hospital over time expanded from 50 beds to 82 beds in 1967, 114 beds in 71, and 182 beds in 1978. When you look at that picture, if you go through that front door and turn to the right, that's where you get your license plates right now. But that was the old hospital. in 1986 or in the early 80s, there was discussion about moving the hospital to its current location. It was really controversial. I think some people lost their elected seats because of it, but I am so happy that they won and that hospital was moved from its location to the current location over there on 96 because it is centrally located to everything in this county from my perspective, right off the freeway, easy access and those kind of things. And it was built initially as a $26.5 million project, built as a 4-story hospital with 144 beds. Now, the original hospital was named Williamson County Hospital, not because it was county owned, but because it was geographic, Williamson County being a geographic name for the hospital. Well, I think that started where people started thinking it was a county-owned hospital. So when it moved in 1986, I think the people that said, we better, try to change this image and change the name to Williamson Medical Center. Today, I could be out in this community and people will say, oh, you work for Williamson County Hospital. So in 86, we built this 144-bed hospital. The original hospital was built under Hill Burton funds, and Hill Burton funds were set up by the federal government after World War II to help bring more hospital beds to the United States. And that ended in 1977, but that original hospital was built not on county tax dollars, it was on Hill Burton funds. So when we moved in 1986, we took out more bond financing to fund this hospital. So we went from 188 beds down to 144 beds. And it's because probably that's all we could afford to do. And it wasn't until 2002 that we really made any changes to it. And you can see in 2002, we added 2 more floors. So we went from a 4-story building to a 6-story building. And we added the medical office building attached to it and the parking deck right next to it. So after 2002, and in this next slide, I wanted to sort of stop to make the statement. This is the most important thing. This is the thing I wake up every day thinking about. This is the why I do what I do. We have one mission, and that's to take care of the healthcare needs of this community. And this will be important as I go along and talk a little bit more about the hospital, about why this is the only thing we think about and we have to think about over this last 68 years. So you can see in 2015 was the next thing that we did. It was to build the 3-story West Tower. And that 3-story West Tower housed our pediatric ER. It had shelf space to expand OB, and it housed a pediatric inpatient unit. I've been associated with about 200 hospitals in 28 states in my career. I've never seen a community hospital with a distinct pediatric ER, because all you're really doing is adding cost where everybody could be taken care of in the same adult and pediatric ER if they were combined. But this was something that was so important to this community to have this distinct pediatric ER. And the reason hospitals don't have it, because it costs money and you don't make money on things like that. But going back to the mission, all we have to worry about is what's important to this community. Look at the number of community hospitals in this region that have pediatric inpatient beds. They don't, because you don't make money on pediatric inpatient beds. But our goal was to keep people within our community so they didn't have to drive to Nashville, to bring the specialist here, to bring that here so that you can stay within our community. So then in 2002, it was 2002, we added that project. And then we go to the next slide. Oh. I didn't get to this slide early enough. In 2019, we built the bone and joint clinic on our campus. And that was basically a significant investment. It was about $40 million. It's 121,000 square feet to really put state-of-the-art orthopedic program there. That's sort of a one-stop shop. So you can get your physical therapy there. You can get all your radiology procedures, MRI, CT. We have a 6-bed outpatient ambulatory surgery center just for orthopedics in that building. And we probably have the best orthopedic group I've ever worked with in my 44-year career. These guys are amazing. They came to us from Vanderbilt and joined Williamson Health. I'll be out in the community and people will say, who owns Bone and Joint? We own Bone and Joint. The bone and joint physicians are employees of Williamson Health. So again, investing into things to really benefit the community. And then in 2021, March of 2021, I came to the hospital. And I told our board within the first month, I said, if we want to be here for another 60 years, we've got to do something transformational. We've got to do something that really will be able to grow with this community. We had a hospital chassis that was from 1986, where the patient rooms were 189 square feet. That building really hadn't changed since 1986. I said, this is not conducive to the quality of care that we provide at this hospital. And so we launched our project to do the West Tower expansion and ER expansion. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. But that was a $180 million project. We borrowed $150 million toward that project. We used internal funds, and we also had philanthropy to support us. And that borrowing was through the county. The reason we borrowed through the county is because they have a AAA rating, and we're able to get financing cheaper than if we did it on our own as a standalone. We've always paid our bonds. We've always paid our debt. The community has never paid a dollar to our debt. So we always have done what we said we're going to do. And so this $180 million project was to continue to meet our commitment to meet the healthcare needs of this community. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But I just want to ground one more time on the statement of who we are. We are a health system that's governmental, freestanding nonprofit, and it includes the Williamson Medical Center, Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee, Monroe Carroll Junior Children's Hospital, Vanderbilt, and physician offices and more. And just to repeat it, we do not receive taxed funding. Taxpayers have not paid for anything. We actually, and I'll show you a slide in a minute, have benefited the taxpayers. So we don't receive subsidy, taxpayers funding other than some subsidy for the EMS. So who are we? We're 2,400 employees in over 30 locations across the county. This blew me away when I became CEO of this hospital. We have a medical staff of over 960 providers covering 60 specialties and subspecialties. When I first was associated with the hospital as a patient, being in the healthcare, I thought to myself, they must have a medical staff of about 100 to 150. 960 covering 60 specialties and subspecialties. Never seen anything like that in my career. We have over 200 EMS professionals that we employ and 18 ambulances, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And then in 2024, we opened the new Boyer Bryan West Tower. So we went from, at that point, 203 beds to 337 beds. We expanded our ER and basically almost doubled the physical size of it, but went from 28 beds to 43 beds. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So people still thought of us as, we're a hospital, and we're not just a hospital, we're a health system. And so in 2023, we engaged in a rebranding, and our rebrand came out as Williamson Health, because we are more than just Williamson Medical Center. Williamson Medical Center still exists. It's still part of Williamson Health, but we're bigger than you think. And you can see we have over 30 locations across the county where we have services. I'm not going to go through this exhaustive list of services, but I want to tell you that our goal has always been to provide the services to keep people within this community and to elevate the services so that they're the best services in the area. And so you can read the list of things that we have on here, but these things are nationally recognized, and we're going to talk about those things in a minute. What's also important to us is to make sure that patients have outpatient access throughout the county, that it's just not coming to one location. So we put imaging centers, laboratory clinics, we put our physician offices throughout. We do have a joint venture with Vanderbilt that has 5 walk-in clinics. But our goal is to continue to expand our footprint so that patients have easier access no matter where they live in the county. And, you know, when we get to the slide, that's the elephant in the room, we'll talk all about what that means. I'm going to tell you about the EMS service. By state law, the county is required to provide EMS services, not the hospital, the county is responsible to provide that. We've been providing EMS services through an agreement with the county on behalf of the county since 1972. When this was originally set up, the county was providing us a subsidy so that we would break even. But as time went on and the county asked us to put more and more EMS units in the county as the county grew, that subsidy wasn't changing. And so all of a sudden, the hospital was taking pretty significant deficits to what we were getting from the county, what we were collecting for the business. It was costing us a lot of money. But going back to our mission, we said our mission is to make sure that we take care of this community. So, okay, we're giving back to the county. Since 2009, we have saved the taxpayers $53 million. $53 million came out of our pocket for a service that is supposed to be paid for by the county. So when you hear things about taxpayers have supported that hospital, the hospital has supported taxpayers to the tune of $53 million since 2009. And within the last 5 years of that 53 million, 33 million have come in the last 5 years since I've been there. So we are doing what we say we're going to do. We are fulfilling our mission when it comes to EMS. And this is an award-winning EMS service. I've never seen a service like this. We do 18 units, 23,500 runs a year. And we do it so that we can meet the goal of 9 minutes or less on the average anywhere in the county. So I'm going to show you a little picture here. So this is a heat map, and this heat map shows you where most of the calls are coming from. So if you look at that Brentwood, Franklin, Spring Hill line, that's where most of the calls are coming from because that's where most of the population is. You can see a little light heat through Arrington, some in Fairview. But what I can tell you is because it's our goal to take care of everyone in this county the same way, no matter where you live. I'm going to go back. You can see where we've located our ambulances all around the county. So we have ambulances that don't have as many runs as the ones in that really heat map area. But if you were living there, wouldn't you want to have that response time too, just the same way as somebody living in Franklin or Brentwood? And so that's why the ambulance costs so much. 1/3 of our ambulance runs, we don't get reimbursed for because we go to the scene and either the person refuses or it's not necessary anymore. So 1/3 of our runs with these really highly trained and talented people, we don't receive any reimbursement. And then when you talk about things like Medicare and Medicaid reimbursement, we receive about half of what it cost us to run the service. So again, very proud of this service, very proud of what they do, and just want you to know that we have been a significant sponsor benefiting this community just on EMS alone. So not only did we invest in things like EMS, but we've invested in athletic trainers at all the high schools. And that costs us about $1 million a year. And then our doctors, our bone and joint doctors, are at all the football games, and they do that for free. We've also partnered with a local chamber of commerce. We pay about $50,000 a year for economic development through the Chamber of Commerce. And we support other nonprofit organizations and events throughout the community. This is my favorite slide. So we sit here and we say, we're going to try to meet the needs of the community, but we also, in our vision statement, said we want to be an acute care center of excellence and the preferred provider in the region. I'm proud to say that the team we have at the hospital, this is not about me. This is about the dedicated clinicians and staff members that do this day in and day out. We've received some pretty incredible awards. Last year, Forbes magazine, in their inaugural year for Best Hospitals in America, named us one of 2 5-star hospitals in the state of Tennessee, and the other hospital was in Chattanooga. Newsweek, we've been 6 years in a row on Newsweek's best hospitals in the world. There's 3 in Tennessee, only 420 in the country, and we're one of them. In Care Checks, these are just some of the awards that we got. We're the #1 hospital in the state of Tennessee for spinal fusion. Now, there are two big graders for healthcare. One is called Leapfrog. You might have heard it. And the other one is the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services grades hospitals every year. 1 star to 5 stars, 5 being the best. Leapfrog, F to A being the best. Because our grades are under embargo now for our grades coming out next month, I can't tell you what they are, but I'm really excited for what I'm going to tell you a month from now. That's all I can say. So we're here. We're proud to serve the county. We did this $180 million expansion, so I'm going to go through this very quickly to tell you a little bit about it. So opened up the Boyer Bryan West Tower. We basically moved a significant number of med-surg beds. We took our 2 ICUs that were in the old tower and put one, those are 2 10-bed units. We now have a 35-bed unit on the 4th floor of the tower. Our cardiology imaging was in radiology. We now have a new cardiac center on the 1st floor of the West Tower in the North Wing. 2 brand new state-of-the-art cath labs, a brand new state-of-the-art electrophysiology lab. Our technology is as good as what you would find anywhere in downtown Nashville. Our obstetrics and NICU renovation expansion, you know, when I got there, it looked like old med-surg rooms that we were doing NICU and OB. And so we completely renovated the old and we expanded into the new space. We took NICU and we gave it its own wing. It's one of the most beautiful NICUs I've ever seen. And all of a sudden, after the project was done, guess what? OB volume jumped up. We do about 2,000 deliveries a year. That's pretty incredible. I told you already about the cardiac center with this new technology we have. I won't go into that anymore, just to save time. Our emergency department expansion. When I first came to interview at the hospital, it was during COVID, and I had to go through the ER. And in our ER waiting area, there was a patient on the floor with an IV and a pillow, and the place looked like a bus station. So when I came to the hospital and talked to the architects, I said, show me how big the lobby is going to be. And they showed me on the plans. I said, make it bigger. We will never have that situation ever happen again. If you haven't been to our ER, it's absolutely gorgeous. We went from 28 beds to 43 beds. We took 8 of those beds and did a secure pod because this country has an issue with mental health, right? Mental health patients don't have access to outpatient or inpatient services. So where do they end up? They end up in our acute care ERs. So we took 8 beds and made a pod so it could be locked so patients can't elope. So staff are safe, patients are safe, others are safe. And we're probably one of the few in the country that's done something like that. We're celebrating 10 years for having pediatrics in our hospital. That's really incredible to me. And my goal is continue to bring pediatric specialists to our community so you don't have to go downtown to seek pediatric care. We continue to invest in capital. What I'm really proud of on this slide is that we just put in our new cardiac CT at the hospital. And so we can do procedures that have never been done there before. And our cardiac MRI is installed already, but it's not going to be operational for another month. Only teaching hospitals have things like cardiac MRIs. But because this is something that is important to this community, so you don't have to go and get on a 4-month wait list at Vanderbilt, we'll now be able to provide cardiac MRI and cardiac CT. Really, really proud of that. And so ultimately, we've gone through this process over the last 5 years of really expanding, elevating, expanding services, making this better for our community. And we're really proud of what we have to offer. The talent that we have at that hospital is second to none. I've never worked with a more talented group of people in my career. In my old career, when I was leading hospital companies, I'd be able to fly around the country to the best doctors for my family. I never have to leave Franklin, Tennessee, or Williamson County for that care. So I'm really excited to be able to provide that to this community. And the other thing is, as I said to our architects, I said, If we bought no additional land, what could we be someday? And so they did this artist rendering of what we could be down the line. And this is an artist rendering of 716 beds. We can be Vanderbilt size if we want to. My next goal in elevating this service we do is to do open heart surgery. And not just because I want to do open heart surgery, it's so we can continue to elevate the cardiac cath and those kind of things, to have that backup you need to make sure that those really, really difficult patients are safe. We've been recruiting specialists. I hate that it takes so long to get into a doctor's office. Can't stand it. It could be 9 months that takes you to get into one of the doc's offices. We have always put physicians into the community. We have always recruited. We recruited, I think, Williamson Health Medical Group, our employed physicians outside of bone and joint. We were about probably 20 employed physicians when I got here. I think we're closer to 50 now. But we can only do what we can do because we're a standalone, and we can only afford to do what we do. I could put 20 more primary care physicians in the market today, and they would get busy. It's just the cost to be able to do that. But our commitment is to continue to do that and to continue to make it easier and more accessible for healthcare in the community. All right, elephant in the room. Y'all been reading a lot about this strategic planning process. There's a lot of misinformation out there. And so your first tenet, what's the truth? So I'm going to tell you the truth. So our board, the hospital, just so you know, the hospital is as fiscally healthy as it's ever, more fiscally healthy than it's ever been. So when you hear things about the hospital's not doing well and all, that's not the truth. The truth is we are stronger than we've ever been. We couldn't have put $53 million into this community if we weren't. We couldn't be buying the equipment we're buying or expanding like we did if we weren't. So we are fiscally healthy. But a couple years, maybe 3 years ago, what I told the board is I said, look, guys, I said, you have to start to think about where we're going to be 10 and 20 years from now. You have to look at the macro industry and see what's going on at the federal level, what's going on at the industry level, what's going on at the state level and the local level, to see where are we and where are we going. We're at a great place right now. I'm so proud of this organization. It's incredible, and I want to make sure it's incredible another 68 years. So here's what's going on in the market. So you have the federal government, which is looking at funding reductions and things like that. You have the state. So the state has been under a law called the CON law, Certificate of Need. And I just want to explain it because you'll hear commercials, the con law, because people like to call it a con. The purpose of CON, when it was put in place by the federal government in 1974, was to make sure that healthcare was distributed in a way that didn't cause waste or duplication of services, and that would keep quality high. That was the reason. I'm not going to debate whether it's worked or not worked in markets or not. But what I'll tell you is it's provided Williamson Health a protection from competition to allow us to do the things that we do, like pediatrics and pediatric ER and EMS and those kind of things, because we were able to do money-losing things while we're still elevating our organization. And we are the low-cost, high-quality provider in the region. If you go to us, it costs you less and you get high quality than anywhere else in the region. And what does that really mean? We get paid less. When you hear low-cost provider, that means we get paid less than anybody else because we don't have the market power to be able to negotiate insurance agreements with the insurance payers. Whereas when you have more market power, you can get higher rates. And so low-cost provider, high quality. That's really what you want. So for us, CON worked. Now, in other markets, you may see the big gorillas that are out there that CON did the opposite. They allowed the gorillas to get really big and have market power, and competition didn't come in. If competition came into our market today, costs don't go down. Because remember, those payer agreements are based on market size. So if any other of the Nashville entities came into our market, it doesn't matter that there's multiple providers, costs go up because they get paid more, and your deductibles and copays are based on those payments. So for us, we've been fighting to keep CON in place, but CON is going away. The House is already approved for CON for hospitals to go away in 2030 and for cardiac cath labs and freestanding ERs in 2028. The Senate seems to say that they're going to come right behind him. It'll get to the governor's desk, and within a few weeks, CON will be basically gone in 2030. So part of what the board is doing is saying, okay, what does that mean for us? So we've got to look at two things. Our board is looking at how do we stay independent, because that's really what they want to do. But if we can't, what do we do from a sales process, finding to make sure we keep that culture in place, to keep the quality in place, to keep all those things in place. So they've gone into the strategic planning process to try to figure this out, to try to figure out what's the best path for the future of this hospital in this community, sort of like number 4, right? That's what they're doing. But you get all this noise out there, and maybe it's because it's election season, all this noise about transparency and, you know, it's behind closed doors, and we're going through a strategic planning process. The way that, remember earlier, I talked to you about the Private Act. If the board comes to a conclusion that says we think the best thing for this hospital's long-term and this community long-term and the employees long-term is to sell, that recommendation goes to the county commission. At the time of recommendation, everything the board has looked at over this past year or two, everything is public. So everyone sees everything that's being seen. The county commission could say, no, we're not going to sell. They could say, yes, we're going to sell. Or they could say, give us time to digest this and maybe bring in consultants or whatever. This whole issue of we're not being transparent and secretive and all this kind of stuff, it's not the truth. The truth is we're protected by law to go through a strategic planning process to determine what's best for the community. You know how many people get money out of this deal if we sell? None. The way the Private Act was set up, it was set up so that this money goes into a foundation to take care of the healthcare needs of the community. That could be EMS, that could be, you know, clinical in the jails, it could be mental health that doesn't exist today, it could be all these things. Well, the county commission recently asked the General Assembly to change the law so that the county commission, if this hospital sells, can get all the money to do whatever they want. We didn't have a position. We said, we're going to follow the law, whatever it is. So we said, okay, there's no individual, no person that will get any money out of this transaction. All the money eventually goes to the county anyway, whether it's in a foundation or whether it goes to pay for something else. The reality is all this noise that's out there about how the hospital's doing this behind closed doors and how the community should have say in all this kind of stuff, it drives me crazy. Because we're doing all the right things. We are taking care of patients at a really high level. We are investing into the community. We are looking how to make this so that it's beneficial for this community for years to come. And it's just going to be a recommendation. I've heard it's already sold. You guys already cut. We can't legally do that. So it's just been tough. We got to not only look at CON, but there's a whole issue of, you know, is there staff out there to take care of more hospitals being built in here? You know, there's a nursing shortage. There's a physician shortage. I'm a baby boomer, so I'm in the 1946 to 1964. There were 76 million births during the baby boom. These are the people retiring. You don't have all this clinical staff and all these physicians and everything else coming up to replace it all. So if you just explode with all these new hospitals and everything, where are you going to get the staff from? And then if you don't have the volumes to really do a high volume, then your quality drops. This is the reason that we're taking a look at this so seriously, because we want to make sure Williamson Health is there forever, and it is the dominant and high quality and low cost provider in the market. That's it. That's the truth. And no decision has been made. My guess in the next few months, a decision will come, and then they'll go to the county commission and said, here's everything we looked at. And this is what we think. What do you guys want to do? So with that, I'll just say the top priority of the board has always been to strengthen our culture, to continue to strengthen clinical excellence and service to the community for generations to come. That's it. So what you hear out there, I'm telling you the truth. You're going to hear a lot of stuff, but it's not right. So with that, we got 2 minutes for questions. See, I did what you said, talk until the end, and there's no questions. Yes. What value of access? Because we're in this protected strategic planning process, I can't tell you, but it's significant. Yes.
Yes. So I wish you'd spent more time on this earlier. Yeah, just a statement. We've dealt with this before with local politics here. We just got rid of a group in the city whose MO was create a false crisis, tell them you can solve it, and then, of course, people vote for them. Have you considered putting out a statement to that effect? Because you've got the news people, WSM has come up with this, Mr. Hayes and another, who was this, Christopher somebody, who said, oh, it's all, but they're doing this all. You need to answer them because. And
we sent a statement to Channel 4 before that piece even aired, and they didn't.
I sure would like to get a copy of it.
They didn't use it.
Yeah, because as one Brentwood City Commissioner is tired of hearing from me, a lie left unchallenged becomes the truth. So people believe it. If you don't answer it, they're going to believe it.
If anyone wants to stay after and ask me questions, I'm glad to stay and talk to them.
Question, what is the payer mix for inpatient services at Williamson Medical?
We're probably about 50% Medicare, governmental, and we're probably 40% commercial, and the remainder 5%, 4% Medicaid, about the same for self-pay. It's a really good payer mix. Okay.
Phil, thank you so much. We read to elementary school students, so we would love to ask you to sign this book because we talk about Rotary, we talk about you and what you spoke to us about, and then you get to keep the pen. It's a nice Rotary. Well, it's been a good day. I hope that I have, all right. Done Jennifer Bourne proud on my first time. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Thank you to Stephanie for joining us. Charles came in, she found us on AI. Nelson, thanks for coming by. Nancy, and is Nan in here? Nan, thank you for coming. I just caught her at the right time. Thank you. Is that all of our guests? I think so. Don't forget about the Pinky Purple Donuts. Your $25 turns into over $185 the way the roundup works with Rotary. So be sure to buy some donuts and see everybody tomorrow. There she goes.